Good morning, happy Friday, beautiful rays of light. Done walking for today, for right now, just taking in the beauty of this park. But I want to share something with you. I remember some years ago when I went to Washington, D.C. for my graduation of my bachelor's degree in health science. And I was sitting by the monument and I was just taking everything in, right? It was a beautiful, very hot day. So I was sitting by the water and a person came and sat by me. And this person openly shared, freely shared, of how they were supposed to go to that event. And you already gonna know what I'm gonna say, but that certain event that happened on, I believe, January 6th, some years ago in Washington, D.C., when people was climbing walls and, doing just other things that's the opposite of good, right? So anyway, this person, I'm sitting in, I'm at peace, right? I'm just thanking God for everything. And this person shares with me that they were supposed to go, and I don't know why that person shared, but they felt compelled to talk to me about it. And long story short, we have a conversation, and I shared my thoughts of that, and I share my thoughts of how we should choose what's best for ourselves, even if others don't like it. But when we choosing what's best for ourselves, we have to ask ourselves, how does this make me a better human being? So in a nutshell, that's what I shared with that person. Did I like what that person possibly could have done? No, but it was no reason, and it's never no reason for me, my thoughts, my knowing, for me to hate that person. And I believe, if anything that I know, is that the divine ordained for that to happen, that it was alignment, that yes, I was up there for my graduation, but I have learned that everything works in multiples, right? Nothing is never singular when it comes to divine order of things, and it is usually out of our planning. Yes, I was up there for the graduation, but I was also there for that moment, that precise moment. That person was walking past and saw me and shared that with me. And I hope that that person was able to leave that conversation that we had a different person in a higher sense, right? Because I know I did. And this is why. I was such in a state of peace, you all, love, joy, that I did not let nothing disturb that. It is also my knowing from different things I've done throughout the years, including my nursing career, that of how that affects us, how someone else's doing can affect us, affect our well-being. I remember some years ago, before I got into the nursing program, when I was seeking more holistic, more natural ways of just doing different things with my body, I went and got a blood test from a holistic practitioner. This person put my blood under a microscope, and my blood, my blood cells looked as if they were shocked. And they were shocked because I was dealing with a lot of stress at that time. I was going through a very tumultuous relationship with another person, but if even more so, a tumultuous relationship with myself. And this is not to blame that person. I take accountability for the part that I have played in it as well, because we choose to be with people, right? We choose to be in intimate relationships with people. And when it was time to choose otherwise, to leave that, I did so. And I wish the best for that person wherever they are. And that's how you know you are at a higher state of healing, that you have no problem wishing that, claiming that for somebody else. But anyway, the holistic practitioner had told me asked me immediately, are you under stress? And again, this was some years ago when I was trying to get into a nursing program, to get accepted to a nursing program. And I did not know, I knew very little about how our thoughts affect us. And I told her yes, and she told me of different things, to do as far as vitamins, minerals, meditation, and so forth. But she also shared with me, encouraged me to change it because of what it could do if it stayed, my blood stayed in that way. So from that, as well as other experiences I have had in my life, definitely when I was in nursing, I remember times where I would take the blood pressure. One particular time I took the blood pressure of a person, and what I would practice was, helping a person to be calm when I took their blood pressure. Have them to talk about, their day before I took their blood pressure. Tell them to take a deep inhale and exhale to release that tension, right? That carbon dioxide, the extra carbon dioxide, because our blood needs a small percentage of that so they can feel better. And one particular time, this person was in a pretty good state, and then they saw something that made their blood pressure get high because they took it on. This person didn't even have to say nothing. All they had to do was look at this particular situation, this certain person, and their blood pressure was so high that the cuff came off. I say this all to say, you all, whatever that we think of someone else, it does affect us. What we hold in our minds, we are also holding into our bodies as well. And if we are not working through these things, because we're going to have different moments, right, of low emotions, whether it be anger, sadness, and so forth like that. But when they are not dealt with, they do cause diseases. One of the main reasons for many diseases is stress. A person can have what's considered a very clean way of eating. They can run around this park all day long. But if they are stressed in their mind, their emotions, their body is still taking that on. And it disrupts us from being well, right? Because we know well-being is more than just one thing being okay, our bodies being okay, our mind. It is a beautiful symbiotic relationship, I love to term it that way, of self. It's emotions, mind, and the body just follows what's going on in the mind, right? That is well-being. And we get to choose if someone or something disrupts that way of being. The ultimate way of being is to be well. And hate, you all, hate should never be stored within us. It is the opposite of love, and hate destroys. It destroys blood cells. It destroys continuously, consistently being in that state causes disruption of self. I also remember some years ago when I had first went to Purdue University, and it was a campus in Hammond, Indiana, and my major at that time was sociology. And I never forget when the professor had introduced us into that, what I was talking about, what I just spoke of what we say, what we do, how we think, how it affects ourselves. So she shared with us an experiment of, I believe the scientist's name was Dr. Hashimoto. You could Google this, but it was his work, his experiments of putting just little tiny drops of water under a microscope, and he spoke to the water. He spoke love, peace, joy, and even different people names. And he also spoke those of the opposite: hate, anger, and names that in history have promoted things like that. And he saw it morph into these disfigured like flakes of, because he put it, the water droplets were frozen. So when he spoke love, joy, and higher emotions like that, and those names that align with that, it turned into these beautiful flakes, these beautiful snowflakes. And when he did the opposite, it didn't look the same. So I encourage you to speak life. We're going to feel these different emotions, but we're not supposed to hate, right? We better than that. But it is our jobs to push through that. We're not meant to be in consistent sadness, anxiousness. All those keep us from having rest, having peace within ourselves, and having well-being. And I want you to be well. I want you to be so well. Because when we are well, we are able to be in the fullness of what God wants for us. We can truly enjoy our lives. All right, I wish you all well. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this beautiful scenery at the park. Until the next time, peace and blessings. Bye-bye.